Hello, beginning band flute students. This is a little video that I've put together for you for your first week or two of lessons to help you at home as you are learning how to play and finger your flute. So what I have in my hands right now is just the body of the flute, and I'm going to review with you where your fingers go on the keys. I'm going to stand with my back kind of to the camera so that when you're looking at the flute in my hands, it looks like the flute looks as you look at it in your hands. Let's remember that your left hand index finger goes on the second key down on the flute. Then we skip a key, and then we go to the next key. So this is the left hand, and of course the thumb goes on the second of the two thumb keys right here. So there's your left hand. Again, remember that your top finger has an open key on each side, and then your second and third fingers go here. Also notice that these fingers approach the flute body at an angle, not like this, but like this. It'll all make sense as you learn how to hold the instrument properly. And then the right hand fingers are on this side of the flute, on the bottom three keys. When we add the foot joint, the pinky will be able to use the pinky key. Let's do that now. Let's add the foot joint to our flute. So I'm going to insert the foot onto the body of the flute. I'm going to turn this a little bit so that my right pinky can find that pinky key right there. Good. Now, if you'll remember, the first three notes that we learn on the flute on page 4 of the band book, the note at the top of the page is F, and that's the thumb, the first, the second, and the third fingers, the first finger, and the pinky. Can you see that? Thumb, first finger, notice those two open keys, second finger, third finger, and then in the right hand we have our bottom three fingers. But for the F, we put the pinky down and pick these two up. So that's our F. The next note down is our E flat. So we put our right hand pinky down, pick this first finger up. That's the E flat. And then we have the D, and all we have to do is pick up this pinky for the D. So here's our D with this first finger up, put our pinky down for the E flat, and then when we go to the F, the first finger comes down, these two fingers come up, and there's our F. Now I'll add my head joint to the body of the flute. I'm not going to push the head joint all the way in, or if I do push it all the way in, I'm then going to pull it out about 3/4 of an inch to an inch, because the flute is designed to play in tune with the head joint out about that much. Then I'm going to sight down the flute, and I'm going to line up the tone hole with the first two keys on the flute. Now I know that I'm well lined up. When I go to play a note on the flute, I put my head down and I find the tone hole where my lip meets the skin. And then I lift my head. You can see that the tone hole remains level, and I'm going to play the note D. you see the steam coming across the head joint? I hope you can see that in the video. It's like I'm blowing on a spoonful of hot soup. I'm keeping my lips pursed and against my teeth and gums. Again, I put my head down. I find the edge of that tone hole where my lip and skin meet. Now, everyone's different. Some people have very full lips and might have to adjust that higher on your lip. Or if you have thin lips, you might need to have it a little bit lower. Everyone's different to find that place where you get a good sound. Okay, so let's finger our D. Right hand, 3 fingers, 1, 2, 3. Pinky up. Left hand, thumb. Go ahead and put your first finger down, your second finger down, your third finger down, and now pick that first finger up for the D. This is down on exercise 6, I believe it is, in your band book, where the note D is introduced. I like to jump down there because D is a little bit easier to find on the instrument. And here it is. Let's play a D together. And then to go up to our E flat, I just put my pinky down, and there's the next note up. And then for the F, I put my left hand index finger down, and I pick these 2 middle fingers up. And that feels a little funny at first. It can be a little awkward. We call this a forked fingering. Our first finger and our pinky is down in the right hand. Here's our F. Okay, so there's your first 3 notes on the flute. Practice playing those notes, and then you can play exercise 2, which has us play 4 Fs in a row. These are 4 quarter notes, and then we rest for 4 beats, 4 quarter rests. Here's exercise 2. Rest, 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 rest. Rest, 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 rest. And then in exercise 3, we play our E flat, we play it and we rest, we play it and we rest. Here's the E flat. And then we rest, and then we play it again. Feel free to pause the video at any time and do that on your own. Now, here's exercise 4 to the team. So we start with 4 E flats. Remember, thumb, the first finger stays up, second and third fingers. If you want to put that first finger down to make sure that it's in the right position, should have an open key on each side. But for our E flat, it will be up, and then in the right hand we have our first, second, and third finger and pinky down. This is our E flat. So in exercise 4, 2's a team, we play 4 E flats, we rest 4 beats, and then we play 4 Fs. And during that 4 beats of rest, we're going to find our E flat, or that is, we're going to find our F fingering. We're going to move from the E flat to the F fingering during that 4 beats of rest. So here's exercise 4, 2's a team. 1, 2, ready, play. Rest, 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 rest. Now you should work at keeping the flute on your mouth while you go from the E flat fingering to the F fingering. And you might not be able to do it that quickly at first. That's okay. In fact, you might want to just hold your flute and practice going from your E flat fingering to your F fingering. And you can hold the flute right in front of your eyes so that you can really see and make sure that you're doing that properly. And then at exercise 5, we have our D. Same thing as E flat, only we pick up the pinky. Thumb, first finger up, second and third fingers, 1, 2, 3, but the right hand pinky is up for the D. And we rest, and we play the D again. And we rest. Don't worry if you're not getting a lot of sound out of the flute. It's more important that you're getting the fingerings right. The sound will develop as you practice, I promise you. Here's exercise 6, moving on up. It begins with 5 Ds. We rest 3 beats, and then we play D, D, E flat, F. So here's exercise 6, moving on up. Rest, rest, rest. Let me demonstrate those last 5 notes again for you, where you go D, D, E, E, F. I'll do that again. So that's your first lesson on the flute. If you can't play exercise 6 between your first lesson and your second lesson, don't worry about it. But make sure that you know where the 3 notes are, your D, your E flat, and your F. Make sure that you can identify those 3 notes in your music, and that you understand that the F is on the top line of the music staff. The E flat is in the space just below the top line. And then the D is on the second line down from the top of the music staff. Make sure that you understand where those 3 notes are located and the fingerings that go with them. And have fun. And just, enjoy your first week with your flute. And also, maybe I should have done this at the beginning of the lesson, it's okay to just work on making a sound on just the head joint. So if I cap the end of the head joint and hold it like this, with the opening of the tube to my right, because that's where the rest of the flute goes. Again, I find where the head joint inside of the tone hole meets where my skin meets my lip. And I lift my head. And I blow over top of that hole, a lot like just making a sound on a bottle. If you've ever held an empty bottle in front of you and blown over the top of the open bottle, it goes right? Well, this is actually easier to get a sound out of. All right, boys and girls. So this is a 16-minute video. You can use this, but you shouldn't always use the video to practice. So enjoy your first week with your flute, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next week at your second lesson. Thanks.